Friends, hello and welcome on TechGuruSpeaks.com. Today I would like to describe about one of the important features of Java multi-threaded programming, and that is Java thread group. A thread group in Java basically represents a set of threads. In addition, a thread group can also include other thread groups. The thread groups form a tree in which every thread group except the initial thread group has a parent. A thread is allowed to access information about its own thread group, but not to access information about its thread group's parent thread group or any other thread groups. Basically, Java provides a convenient way to group multiple threads in a single object. In such way, we can suspend, resume, or interrupt group of threads by using a single method call, and that is the beauty of using Java thread group. Using a single method call, we can perform several operations like we can suspend, resume, or interrupt a group of threads. Now, the Java thread group class has two constructors. The first one is having a string parameter like thread group with the parameter string name, and the second one is having the string name along with the information related to its parent like thread group parent and the string name. Now I would like to demonstrate the use of Java thread group using coding demonstration, and for this I'll be using the NetBeans IDE. So now let's move to the NetBeans for program demonstration. So here comes the code that I have written for demonstrating Java thread group class. So here first I would like to give you information related to thread group. Like here the class custom threading is basically created from the thread class, but suppose I would like to get the information, I mean to say the necessary information related to thread group. So as you can see it here, public class thread group extends object implements thread.uncaught exception handler. So that is the thread class signature. Okay, so I have given you the two overloaded constructors of the thread group class. Besides this, I have also shown you the class signature of thread group. Okay, so in that way they can be described or defined in the API. So that is the idea. Now back to the normal code. So here we are having the custom threading class which extends thread class. Now we are using the second overloaded constructor. It is calling its super class that you can see it here. So by calling start, you are basically going to put that thing into, say, I mean to say here, a runnable state. Now here we are having the reference that will be pointing towards the object of the currently executing thread. It is showing its name. Now we are having a try catch block. Within the try block, we are going to pause the thread, I mean to say the currently executing thread object, for 1 second, that is 1000 millisecond. So that is the structure of the run method of the custom threading class. It's pretty simple that you can see here. Now we are having the thread group class here. Like, so first we have created a parent thread group. So it is the name, and this is using the second overloaded constructor of the thread group class. It is providing the parent group information, and this comes the child information. So that is the idea. So now we are going to create the 4 different objects of the custom threading class. Remember that it is basically using a different kind of constructor to create a thread that is basically part of a thread group. Try to remember this thing. Clear? So in that we are going to create the thread. So here the first and the second thread object are basically part of the parent thread group, and the third and the fourth are part of the child thread group. That is the idea here. So by using the active count method of the thread group class, we are going to show the number of active threads. It will be showing the list, and the last command is basically showing the number of active groups present. So that is the idea of this particular code. Just trying to run it. So it will be showing the corresponding output here. So number of active threads, that is 4, because we are created 4 thread objects. Now, so thread group, it is the parent thread group, so maximum priority is 10. So that is about the name, the priority, and the thread group information, that is about parent group. So it is about thread group 1 and 2, that is first and second. These are the names of the thread objects. For the third and fourth, it is basically showing the child as the thread group name. So in that way it will be shown here. So that is the output that we are getting by applying this particular method. So number of active thread groups, that will be shown here by using this method called active group count. So number of groups that is basically active is showing here by calling the method active group count. It is showing here the value 1. So now we are going to call them like fourth starting, second starting. So fourth is basically a child, like a thread that is member of the child group. Second is basically a member of the parent group. So here we have already seen third starting and first starting. Third is from the child group and first is from the parent group. So all of the thread is basically being started here. So since we are having the sleep method being called, so they will be paused for 1 second, which is equivalent to 1000 millisecond. So after certain point of time, whenever the pausing of a thread will be over, the corresponding thread object will be moved to the runnable state, and it will be waiting for its turn to be executed by the thread scheduler. And after some time, or after a particular point of time, every thread will be showing this statement, that is third ending, first ending, second ending, or fourth ending. Obviously you can understand that for the second run of the program you might find a different execution sequence, because the execution sequence will be different for different run of the program, because as a programmer we will not be having the complete control over the threads. We might have a bit of control, I mean to say a limited amount of control over the threads, I mean to say in terms of thread execution. So we cannot control the sequence, the order in which threads are going to be executed. So that will be completely dependent on the function of the thread scheduler. But the basic concept is basically following the use of the different thread group constructors and the different threads being created, which are part of a particular thread group. Like first and second are part of the parent, and third and fourth are from child. So that is the idea. So I hope that you have understood the logic of this program, and with this concept you will be able to implement your code for your project. So that is the idea to be implemented. So I hope that you have thoroughly watched this video, and if you like this video, then please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please visit my website for lot of useful information, and this is my official mail ID. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.